हो गया?
नहीं सर।
Create a new one. Don't bother about that. Just make 1, 2, 3, and I will mention the question is how many will you like to validate a specific people's knowledge? Yes, that was the question, isn't it? And let people respond to yes, no, not decided. Set up a new poll. Ananika, you are the host now, or are you able to do Rageshri, or should we defer it for later? We can do it after 15 minutes also,
हाँ
not a
सर,
rush.
पोल हो गया,
And
मैंने
Rageshri,
लॉन्च
should
किया।
you? कर दिया? All right. So friend,
सर पोल लॉन्च हो गया है।
the question is that ठीक है, ठीक, okay. So the question is, how many of you would like to? Is that what have you written, Rageshri?
If yes, then would you like to validate at least TK claim?
Correct. That's right. Hmm. Have you got enough responses, Rageshri?
सर 161 का रिस्पॉन्सेस आया है।
चलो थोड़ा देर और वेट
हाँ।
करते हैं, 5-7 मिनट. So the first question was, would you like to make bridges between the formal and informal knowledge system, science and technology? And the second one is, if yes, then will you like to take up something specific to validate on a specific knowledge, be it of your grandparents, or we can share that Jan can share. When we cross 250, we can look at it.
सर 200 का आ गया है रिस्पॉन्सेस।
Okay. So if we see the response, will it stop or can continue?
कैन कंटिन्यू, कंटिन्यू रख सकते हैं सर।
तो मैं मोर में जाकर पोल में जाऊं. And which one do I see? Question number 2 or 3?
सर पोल नंबर 3।
नहीं, वो तो अटेंडेंस का दिख रहा है मेरे को. I have only 3 items, and third one is attendance. No. What is the response? I can't see that. Tell me.
सर ये दिख रहा है?
Rakesh, I'm seeing your screen. Manage file in your Google Drive storage. वो स्ट्रिंग पेज आ गया. You have shared the wrong page. चेंज कर दो उसको, हटा दो. बता दो. हाँ मैंने.
बस 225 के रिस्पॉन्स आया है. उसमें 118 ने यस बोला है, 14 ने नो बोला है और 94 ने डोंट नो बोला है.
Very good. Good response. 114. So that will be very impactful. This batch will make a real impact if 114 of you will build bridges and do something that has not happened in the history of Indian science at that scale. We have so few examples, as you will see in a minute. So that's very nice. Ragesh, we can leave it at that and we can start now.
Okay.
अनामिका को ज्वाइन करने के लिए बोल दो, she can join.
हाँ.
So friends, the issue that we're going to discuss today is a blending of formal and informal science knowledge. And wanted to play, so that's okay. So what we're trying to say, of course, as you know already, that we have been trying to give voice, visibility, and velocity. But the third point is what we are focusing on today: how to give velocity to the ideas of people. Unless we validate them, unless we add science in them, they will not go very far. There will be no speed. They will not reach anywhere. We can give award to them. We can make them visible, but nothing will happen. And mind you, this bridging that we are talking about is in all domain: physics, chemistry, material science, all kinds of knowledge system, all kinds of disciplines. And therefore, it is important that, meteorology, for example, weather, there are indicators which indicate the coming weather, 24 hours, 36 hours, sometimes even few weeks and months, even a kind of a hazy circle around the moon. As I was told by an astronomer, it implies that the crystals of the water have moved so up, maybe some ice crystals, that the light is diffused, and that condition indicates the nature of weather that is going to unfold. So there are different kinds of indicators that people have observed, both about the wind movements, about the rain, about the temperature. You know that when the tsunami came, not one Jarawa tribal person in Andaman died. They had all noticed at least few hours before that the water was still. There were no waves. And they got the impression, they got the idea that there is something untoward likely to happen. And they all moved up in the higher altitude. And there was not one victim, Jarawa victim. So therefore, many communities have ways of deciphering the environment, the indicators of ecological conditions, of weather, of winds, of temperature, and so on. So it is useful, therefore, to see whether we, the formal scientific system and institutions, learn from them. Now, before we proceed further, I'd like to tell you about this. HBN Kriya India Honeybee Network Creativity and Inclusive Innovation Awards. These awards we are giving to anyone who has a solution, worthy solution, which has application at the ground, common people. So if you want to submit your own ideas, that have social applications, community-based application for common people. Some alloy you have developed, some polymer you have developed, some disinfectant you have developed, some material you have developed which can strengthen the walls of the hut, or you have developed an anti-fire a fire retardant for the roof of the poor people, or whatever material. It could be in any submit your entries at hbn-india@gyan.org, and we would be very happy to include them. And then if you are lucky and your ideas are very distinctive, they will get recognized and awarded and mentored by the fact. So we will also send this to you by email. Please. So this is just to share with you that there is enough time. The last date is January, but don't delay too much. If you have, and you can submit more than one ideas also, more than one solution. You can submit 2, 3, 5, doesn't matter. Even if you did a small project in a course and you thought that you developed some insight which you want to share, please do that. So essentially, what are the ways in which we build the bridge? We can recognize, respect, reward, acknowledge, benefit sharing, cross-pollination. We can also build capacity of the people to do experiments. So it is not necessary that they should come to us every time. If we give them tools and techniques which are easy to manage, they could do that. I remember a professor from IIT Kanpur, Professor Sangal, he noticed some of you have seen tangawalas, the horse carriages. So the horseshoe gets worn out very fast, and they have to then get a new horseshoe fixed because otherwise metal road on the paved roads. So there was a lot of cost, and the local people who forged the horseshoe felt that if they could get a better material which can last longer, because the horseshoe also grows in some sense, it expands. So after some time, the fit between the horseshoe and the so then you have to take it out and put another one. So this professor went to the horse carriage people and also the forgers, people who blacksmiths who fitted it, talked to them, identified, understood the problem, found out a new material which will not wear out as fast as the earlier horseshoe used to, iron horseshoe used to. Very low cost. He trained them how to forge custom, put it in the horseshoe, and the people in that community are now making it and using it. So this is a case where you build the capacity of the users, potential users, to use the solution that you have. And that has not happened at a very large scale. And you know what happened next year? We invited this professor to the a meeting of the students at Rashtrapati Bhavan during Festival of Innovation, so that he could share his story and the students could see how blending of formal and informal knowledge can take place. So this you are familiar with this. And what I'm trying to say is that these are root bridges from Chirapunji, I may have shown earlier. So what we're saying is science is like alphabet, technology is like word, institutions are like grammar, and culture is like thesaurus, all the four we need. So one of the point that is very important is to create a culture, a conversation around blending. So sometime while taking a cup of coffee or tea, you can discuss some ideas. Some of you might be aware, I don't know whether I shared this example, but I will, if I have shared, I'll repeat it. Don't mind that. So once there was a whitewash going on in my house when I was still in the IMA campus.
You haven't
And the worker hurt his finger. Okay, I have not shared. So a worker hurt his finger, and I said, "All right, let me bring the medicine. Let me bring the antibiotic cream." He said, "No, wait a minute, sir. Let me just go out." He went out, came back after a few minutes, and there was no blood. The blood had stopped. So I said, "What did you do?" He said, "Sir, I applied the cobwebs, the spider's web, which I had cleaned up a little while ago before wash, and it clotted the blood. Now, can anybody explain to me why? This paper I will show you today, this paper was published. Wait a minute. Let me take it there first. Yeah. So this is a spider protein which leads to clotting. And this, we did research in our lab. We made a cell line. And this paper was published in Science. New opportunities for ancient material, spider and silkworm generate silk protein fiber that embodies standards, etc., etc. And these are multifunctional material, green chemistry, and these bio-inspired high technology materials can lead to multifunction. High technology materials. These are high technology materials. These are not traditional low respect, low value of materials. These are high technology materials, can be used for medical and other applications. Lead to good publication, and at the same time good science also. So please don't think that will go down. No, on the contrary, you would be seen as pioneer who gave value to something that we had known for such a long time, but did not know why. Is the website, and your freedom wheels at Gmail is his email address. And now he can go wherever he wants to. So it is possible that we can improve the ergonomics, we can improve the design, we can improve the dashboard, we can improve the clearance. The clearance of this solution is little less. So if there's a speed breaker or something, it can strike. So therefore, there's a need for design improvements. Somebody from CMRI or CSIO or some other engineering groups could help this person to improve. He has made even a battery operated now. So this is the power of imagination and blending of the bridges, that you can have two different. This is another example. This was the traditional design in 1992 that Mansukh Bhai made, and that is the small tractor it took shape. So let me now take some of the examples that you mentioned in your response earlier. One of you mentioned about Dipankar Paul, mentioned about marigold leaf for wound. And your grandmother is absolutely right. You didn't mention her name though, Rahman. But there's a paper by Rahman et al., which shows that the leaves, marigold leaves, are more effective than even turmeric. And for sheep, they did an experiment in Bangladesh, Ekach University, and Journal of Advanced Veterinary Animal Research. This paper was published in 2020, showing how good it is, as you can see. So similarly, Farhanaz mentioned about papaya leaf extract. And again, there is a paper which established that it is true. Fasting, you mentioned, all religions have a fasting. Within papaya, one of you mentioned about papaya and kiwi fruit. And there's a study which is there online, which I saw today, where they have published that, yes, with kiwi, it is better because kiwi is a very good rich source of vitamin C and at the same time K and potash. So it increases the immune response, and so body also fight the fever better, and at the same time papaya becomes more effective. Papaya leaf extract becomes more effective. So let's look at some examples where we did that. So there was a scout who found out Shatrughan Prasad Vaidyaji, 2007. The research was done. Patent was filed in USA pro bono by my dear friend Tom Tirano, and TKDL opposed this. And this was the patent that was granted on this knowledge of tribal person from India who had developed a solution. And then they published the paper, and ICMR Institute in Kolkata. Dev Prasad Chattopadhyay, I talked to him yesterday. And Shatrughan Prasad, the healer, was one of the co-authors. So, patent will be in the name of the innovator. Papers can be published jointly. and you develop a solution. All of this was done. So you get good science, good technology, good academic reward, and good reward for the knowledge provider. All of that can happen at the same time. This happened in our institution. And then Dr. Kundu, who is now at KIIT, earlier he was at National Center for Cell Science in Pune, and he did research on that to find out for typhoid and how good this was. So he used Shodia robusta, and he showed that he also did on cancer properties and in cancer line and inhibitory effect on the migration of melanoma cancer cells using wound assay. So what I'm saying, and silk protein I already told you about. So there are cases, this I had mentioned earlier about milk example, and this is a tobacco leaf virus using whey milk. And in Michigan State University, they have also done research and they have published this. And Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs, Manitoba has put it on their website, milk as a management to provide disease. So what I'm trying to say that this is not a case only of building bridges for the academic interest. We are trying to expand choices of common people. We're giving them solutions which are affordable, extremely frugal, extremely low cost. We are democratizing science and technology. We are making it accessible. The fruits of our labor will be accessible to people in most difficult conditions who may not be able to buy costly solutions. So, and this is a paper that was published in AcSIR by one of the professors who worked at Skazari Central Arizona Research Institute in 2007. This is another example of scientific validation of traditional knowledge of Sikta in an Amazonian community. In 2018, it was published as a painkiller simulant. So what I'm trying to say is that research is going on around the world. Probably we are little behind, given the scope of knowledge, given the diversity of knowledge our country has, given the fact that we have all ecosystems in our country. There are very few countries which have right from temperate to tropical, all kinds of rainforest, another. So we have all kinds of ecosystems. We have all kinds of weathers in our country at any point of time. And therefore, the knowledge system is so diverse. And they went to the extent of finding out the molecular structure, identified the compound, which was not reported before, and then went to the route of even synthesizing if they wish to. So that's how this paper was published. They acknowledged the community and did that. There's another example from Indian traditional knowledge system of Caralluma lasiantha for scientific validation. And this was published in Cogent Chemistry. Anti-inflammation activity and the plant extract, and they published that it can be crude plant extract exhibit good antimicrobial activity and selected bacteria due to presence of steroids and flavonoids and so on and so forth. And the example for psychological problems. And they have identified the plant that are used for psychotic disorders and stresses. And then did a review and found out for a community, in fact, which some used leaves, some used fruit, some used flowers, some used stems, some used roots, some used seed, bark, and then showed which were the leaf were more common, but there were other parts also that were being used. Same plant family, only two plants and plants are being used, different parts are being used by different members of the community. So diversity, and then we don't know, they didn't know which one is more effective. That's what the science has to show. So then they did research and found out which was more important. Bamboo shoots have been known to reduce toxicity in Arunachal Pradesh. Adi tribe have used this knowledge, and the scientists tried to validate it. Ideally, they should also make the people who provide this knowledge as co-authors. That's where we sometimes become stingy, and I would not wish that we do that. So there are large number of papers from around the world, China, Pakistan, working together, Oman, inter-country study for validation as anti-diabetic agents. In Australia, they have given authorship. And fishing poison, similar studies. I'm just trying to show you, this was from our community. Sashti had identified a plant, so that Scout was also made one of the authors. And the team together published this. So Khumaji Badaji Katavia, he is the knowledge provider. He's the first author in this case. And this is the way we could develop. There are many other papers that came out from our group where Master Herb, one of the drug that was made by Sati earlier, was based on this. And last time, I think Anamika mentioned about an oil that she had made based on the knowledge of the people from Baramulla. And already some 10 of 15 responses have come showing remarkable effect of this oil for reducing pain, including myself, my own back pain, my leg pain, right leg, I have had the pain. And it has reduced significantly and has become much more tolerable now. Back pain has disappeared completely. Now we need to find out what is there in this plant or this group of plants which are showing this effect. That remains to be done. Alum College of Pharmacy, the students of Alum College of Pharmacy and Professor Mamta, who guided them, did it as a part of their classroom project. So many times, some of you who also teach could use your classes for doing that. This is possible. So I will stop here and hope that when you present your cases, you will highlight the need for these bridges, but also open our eyes to the possibilities that we have not paid attention to. So over to you now. Who would like to start? Diksha, you want to start?
Yes, sir. Can I?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes.
Sir, before Diksha, can I add something?
Please do that. Please do that.
So our new research material is Roos Corer area, which is Sumac. Nagaland and some northeastern states have huge distribution. And while researching, what they do is after every meal, they generally drink it as a tea. So we found all cases of like it is antimicrobial, and so finally we found that even if you mix like 2 gram in 1 kg or 1 liter of water, then it makes the water safe to drink.
2 gram in 1000 ml. Wow,
yes, sir.
wonderful.
And then I will just show a paper. If somebody wants to, my interest is if somebody takes it for further research.
And make a product out of it so that people can, because the raw material will not be available in every part of the country, nor will it be available in all the seasons. So maybe
Most of the
synthetic
raw
chemistry can also be used. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, just let me show this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And if you see that it reduces your chance of colon or liver cancer.
Wow.
So that is, they have done rat studies and also human studies. And so you see the last line, supplementation of drinking water, 0.2 gram per kg per animal, decrease the formation of oxidized DNA bases in colon, liver, lung, lymphocytes. Also after gamma radiation pronounced. Yes. And it is also the effect due to induction of glutathione. अब आपको पता है अभी glutathione has taken up all the cosmetic and whatnot industry. And we have a source right here. You want in kgs, you want in tons, we can get it. Now, some of you will have to take this research and develop a product so that these benefits go to the community and
you publish paper.
Yes.
Yes.
आप देखो तो मैं इसका लिंक आपको भेज देती हूँ. Just go through it and see if like it is like oxidation reduce करता है. It is like it is actually it has a scavenging action, and somehow the communities have found out what ways and in what ways they have still kept it alive is something that amazes us.
So they took it from Turkey, Iran, and Arab country. They took their sample from. So it is found in other countries.
Yes, sir. हमारे पास इसका बहुत बड़ा. So that is the thing, na sir. Finally, if we don't make products,
somebody else
other country will make.
करना हो कर लो. एक बार मुझे
हाँ भीम म्यूट कर लो, म्यूट कर लो, म्यूट
ठीक है
कर लो।
भीम, जितना करना है कर लो, लेकिन अभी ये पढ़ाई वाला काम कर लेते हैं।
ठीक बात, बिल्कुल ठीक बात,
ठीक है।
बहुत अच्छा
So
एग्जांपल दिया
we
तुमने।
have many such examples जहाँ पे we lag behind in our. It's not that we don't have the science or we don't have the technology. We have it, but technology अगर community के पास है, science आपको खोजना है.
So what
You
you are
will have.
telling is that they can become not only famous but also good entrepreneur. उनको benefit sharing मिलेगा ना, they will have a
हाँ
stake
हाँ.
in the enterprise, ठीक है ना?
Yes, of course.
ठीक है यार, that's a good.
Because that way मतलब हम लोग यहाँ पे चाहते हैं कि आप साइंटिस्ट के साथ entrepreneurial भी बने. ठीक है, थोड़ा बहुत नुकसान होगा तो देखा जाएगा. We
नहीं तो
can
उनका
take it in
उनका
our.
उनका जो वैलिडेशन है उसके बदले में उनको थोड़ा सा शेयर दे देना।
हाँ हाँ सर, ताकि उनको ऐसा करेंगे कि वो और रिसर्च के लिए पैसे ले लें,
सही बात, सही बात, सही
है
बात।
ना?
It's very good.
So yeah, that was. Then Diksha, you can continue. I'm sorry to interrupt this,
नहीं
but
नहीं नहीं,
I
it
thought
was a
this is
good
a very
interruption.
Thank you
It
so
was a
much,
good
ma'am.
interruption. Yeah, go ahead, Diksha.
Sir, I'm going to share my
Yes.
screen. So if it's visible, sir, you can
Not
tell me.
yet, but try.
Sir, now it's visible.
It's becoming, yes.
So wait a minute. Sir, so now it's on full screen, sir. It's visible
Yes,
clearly
yes,
now.
it is visible.
Sir, so starting from here, very good evening, everyone. So my name is Diksha Chaudhary. I am working as a PhD scholar in CSIR AMPRI. I registered for my PhD in January 2023 in Chemical Science batch. So for this presentation, we 5 students, me and Ritu Shukla, Neha Dikshit, Tanmay Sardar and Mahendra, we all have contributed equally. So my today's presentation is focusing on fluoride removal Nalgonda technique, a traditional way of fluoride treatment and its extended form in modern world. So which is basically focused on our most basic need, water. This idea is driven by our ancient Indian traditional knowledge. So here it's overview. Here it is a overview of this slide. Groundwater is a, as we know, groundwater is a primary source of drinking water, or cases of groundwater contamination increases day by day. So it is causes by that contamination can be causes by the natural presence of mineral around the aquifer, or it can be possible by the industrial waste release. So in this presentation, we only cover one contamination, which is a fluoride, because fluoride contamination cases increasing in India. Recent mentioned that India has 27 state with 469 district has a fluoride contamination. So to solve this problem, our ancient Indians treated fluoride by Nalgonda technique. Why it is called Nalgonda? Because Nalgonda is a place situated in Andhra Pradesh where this technique is used. Also in India, fluoride was first detected in Andhra Pradesh in 1937. So this is the overall history of Nalgonda technique. So in this slide, we're gonna see how Nalgonda technique works. So in first step, lime and alum is mixed and the flocculation process takes place. Or after that, it allowed to settle for a process for a sedimentation process. Or after sedimentation process, the sludge and the water is separated by filtration process. So this is the overall mechanism of Nalgonda technique, but it has a drawback. It produces a more sludge. So, taking that point into account, we proposed a new idea how this technique can be used in our idea. So so taking some important point from this technique, we can also use alumina and calcium based material for fluoride treatment. So taking this hypothesis, we propose a straw based column containing alumina and calcium adsorbent, which can be used for fluoride treatment at the domestic and community levels. So this could be a low cost technique which is more suitable for rural areas. So now, how does adsorption works? So as can be seen from the diagram, one straw-shaped column is made and filled with the adsorbent material. Then contaminated water passes with that, so it can absorb all the impurities and releases the fluoride-free water. And it also can kill a bacteria which is presented in water, or it or this sorry and this could make a little portable water filter to carry while traveling, or it could be designed from the domestic purpose also. So following this mechanism, we can make a portable water filter straw, or also a domestic or community level treatment filters. So thank you, sir. So this is from my side.
And this is very affordable because the materials are low cost. Is that what you're saying,
Yes, sir.
Diksha?
Yes, sir.
And what have you done? Have you given it for testing to some people?
Sir, actually, I am going to work on that. So I
Okay,
did.
you want to work on that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. But if you need any help in kind of getting in touch with the communities, any one of you needs help in getting in touch with communities anywhere, we
Yes.
have Honeybee Network collaborators all over the country. So we will try our best to put you in touch with the community in the region where you want to, whether Northeast, Jammu Kashmir, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, wherever. We'll have somebody who can help you most likely. So don't hesitate in and approaching us for that. Any one of us, myself or Anamika, will help. Next, please. Very good. So
Thank you, sir.
how do we clap for you? Is there a way of clapping? I can clap, but then there must be some way. Yes. So we should encourage. We should encourage everybody doing that. Very nice. Next, please. 2-3 लोगों ने clap किया भाई, ऐसा मत करो. Next, who would like to share an example where you are trying to build bridges between two different knowledge systems? Please volunteer, come forward. मैं कोल्ड कॉलिंग करूंगा. गायत्री गोगोई आप बताएंगी? नवजोत, मोहित, please share some examples where you wish to do it. Even if not done, doesn't matter. At least make a case. Make a case. Lalita, you want to do that, NPL? Abdul Rashid from Triple IM, you must have many good examples.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Who would like to share?
Praveen, yes.
Go ahead. Yes.
So I'll we have already made a project proposal and we have a team of 5 people. And I'll just show you. I'm focusing on geographical indication. I'll just show you the not a presentation, the document.
Yeah.
So is it visible now?
Not yet.
1 minute.
Others may get ready by the time he shows.
Let me share the screen.
Yes. Yes, we can.
Yeah, is it visible now?
Yes, it is. Socioeconomic study of GI.
So this is, geographical indication.
Yes.
Not a really.
Everybody knows geographical indication. Anybody who doesn't know, it is a right given to people practicing a traditional form of art, craft, or textile or anything. It could be even food or fruit or whatever, which is pursued in a contiguous region. That means if there are 3 districts where Pochampalli sari is woven, or Patan Patola is woven, or some other tradition is there, then those people, the group of those people can apply for geographical indication, so that other people who do not work on that living there, they may live somewhere else and may pursue it, that they will not get the advantage of GI. For GI, you have to be part of that contiguous region and community, which has been using the traditional form to maintain a particular craft or textile or whatever, fruit or food or whatever. And it was originally incorporated as an instrument of IPR when France wanted champagne to be restricted to the sparkling wine made in Champagne region of France. So in California also they make sparkling wine, but they call it a sparkling wine. They cannot call it champagne. So the community which is living in Champagne and making wine there gets the benefit of authenticity, and their market is not eroded by people elsewhere following their own method, similar method, and making similar product. They will not take away the benefit of this community which has been granted GI. So GI is a collective right, first of all. Second, it is for traditional knowledge-based craft, knowledge and practice-based craft. Third, it must be by a community in a contiguous region pursuing this art. And fourth, that it will help, this community can prevent others from using the same label, same indication, which they are using. So if somebody else makes Pashmina, let's say, supposing for a minute that there was a GI on Pashmina in Kashmir, then other people may be making similar kind of wool and similar kinds of shawl. But if they are not in that region, even if they're using the same wool, but they're not living in that region, they will not be able to call that as a Pashmina. So that is the point. Go ahead now.
Okay, thank you, sir. So I know you know that I am already working in intellectual property rights area so many years. Even the Tirupati led to GA and all I opposed. And I thought this is a good study. Because GA is also considered and told as a poor man's right. So my question is like, after getting GI, did it really make any social impact? Whether the livelihood of the people, artisans increased, or whether they are getting better life standards, whether getting better income, whether export is increased, so whether it has made any socio-economic impact. So we have, I thought of choosing a few particular things from Kerala, from handloom sector I thought, because handloom sector is more traditional and also livelihood issue for many of the people. So out of all the GIs, 24, I think it's more than 30, it's now 30, 35 GIs from Kerala now. Of all, I have chosen GIs from different regions of Kerala. Say, for example, Kasaragod sarees is from North Kerala, and then Kothambulli sarees in the middle Kerala, Chendamangalam dhotis and Settumundu again in middle Kerala, and then Balrapuram handloom is from South India, South Kerala. So then the aim of study is to identify whether GIs from handloom sector of Kerala could make any difference to the premium price faced by the product. After GI, whether the product can fetch a premium price, higher sales volume after the grant. Otherwise, it has no meaning. So there comes a statistical study also. And in fact, the reality is that GI in India has not made any impact. So it's a kind of populace in India. And then the study, relevance of proposed studies, the geographical indication makes sense only if the product fetches higher premium price after the grant of GI, living standard or income producers improve, that is social impact. First one is economic impact. And again, export market has increased or not, that's second economic impact. So for making that literature survey is an important part. So detailed literature survey has to be done, obtaining details of any similar socio-economic products studies in the same part of the world. So now we'll focus on Kerala. So research methodology
Praveen, this is a very good study. I'm happy that you're doing this. I have known your work for a long time. I have a suggestion, Praveen, that the task of opposing the free riders, people who may use the label of Kasaragod sari without living in Kasaragod or without working in Kasaragod or without processing it in Kasaragod, they have to be prevented from using that label, isn't it?
Correct.
Now, that task, the poor weaver may not be able to do. Somebody has to do it on their behalf. Somebody has to help them. Even though GI is a collective right and there is an association formed and so on, but you know the reality that they are one of the poorest people. Weavers are some of the poorest people. So for them to organize and hire an advocate, file a case against somebody else who is misusing is very difficult. So please bring that issue in, that what has public policymaker done to prevent people from misusing the label.
I think we need to
GI.
bring a mechanism and also a kind of
Yes.
trademark has to be they
So
should
maybe
be.
we should talk to some of the public interest lawyers, and see whether a association of such lawyers can take up the task of supporting the rights of GI holders.
Correct.
It may be possible. Need any help, let me know. I will be happy to talk on your behalf to
I
these
also have
lawyers.
contacts.
But that is one direction, because we need, government probably will have difficulty in filing cases. This has to be done by private individuals, private lawyers. And to me, it seems, at least in Kerala, if nowhere else, such people will be available plentiful, who will be happy to take up such cases in defense of. It's a good example where a modern tool has been used, modern instrument of protection has been used for traditional knowledge. This is the only IP which is traditional knowledge based.
Correct.
And but the benefits, as you rightly mentioned, have not really accrued because we have not prevented other people using it unauthorized in a non-authentic manner. Thank you, Praveen. If anybody else wants to ask any comment, make any comment or ask questions, feel free. I mean, it is not that only we should comment. Any one of you can comment on your presentation.
Okay, this is a complete proposal.
Very good, very
We
good,
are ready
very
to
good,
launch.
very good proposal. No, it's very timely and very important, and I'm sure this will help policymakers look into the mirror and find out as to how little they have done to really implement this in the right spirit. So it's a good point.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
That
Yes.
recently I found that because I'm very interested in handicrafts and
Yes.
silk and handlooms. So, so the shopkeepers, some of the shopkeepers give you a kind of an you can say choice that if you want a silk mark sari, then you have to pay something extra. Though that sari, if you don't want with a silk mark, then you pay like 1,000 rupees lesser than the because that silk mark they will deposit in the government. They will and then get the silk mark for you. So something like that, where if you want a premium thing, like I want to flaunt my pashmina saying that this is authentic. There are 10 others, but you see, this is my like it's something that I am proud of. Then there could be some fee for people who are willing to pay for that tag.
No, the concept of GI is, Anamika, that anybody who is member of that community which applied for GI will have unrestricted right to put that tag of GI on their product. So they don't have to pay any fees once they
And
get
if
GI.
I am not from there and I put a GI,
Then that is wrong. That against that we have to file a case. Now, this is where the problem is, that these people are so poor that they are not able to oppose the misuse of their label by people who don't deserve it, and that's where the authenticity is lost. So there is a need for vigilance, and even consumers should complain if they can, which will help the genuine weavers in this case. Yes, anybody else, please?
or it can be, sir, that only this tag can be given to the registered weavers.
No, it is given only to registered weaver, but they don't
No.
have, there is no label given. See, association can decide to give a particular label which is affixed to the product. Now that
Yes.
it's an interesting idea, and I don't think any association has done it.
Like a
But
barcode or something.
that would be a good idea. That would be a good idea. Yeah, that is a good thought. Praveen, you can take into account this idea, that if there are restricted, so let's say 20,000 saris are made, and if 20,000 carry that tag, authentic tag from the association, then 20,001, which is being made elsewhere, will not have that tag, and therefore cannot claim authenticity. Something of that kind is a good thought we can pursue further.
I think that we have to have a serious study. So far,
yes.
Study
So
happened.
there have been many studies. Lalita did it in GIDR on GI, and many other people have done.
Socioeconomic side and all.
Yeah, but they have not done. They have not looked at the practices, policies. But you should contact Lalita also at Jatin Development Research. She has done a very large study on GI. Anybody else, please? Anybody else would like to present a case, even if you've not done it, at least you propose that a validation be done. But even if you can't do yourself, you can propose the case where somebody else can help you. Somebody from other institution can join hand with you. It can be an
Or
institutional.
something very interesting that you have come across and you feel that this thing should be researched upon. And
Yeah, go
maybe
ahead.
your the participants can join hands with you and do it for you. And you can share that with the community from whom you have learned.
Yeah, so there's a paper in Journal of Functional Biomaterial 2023 on properties of spider silk coating as a very important and useful biomaterial. So there are papers of very advanced nature coming from based on knowledge of the people and which has been valorized. What was earlier available as a folklore has now become a technology, a scientific basis. So please volunteer now. Who would like to present next example? At least make a case for it. Even if you don't know how to validate, propose it and then we'll discuss it. The people, we have a rich community. Somebody will help you to, yes, Abha? Unmute yourself and unmute yourself. Yes, go ahead.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, I just visited Jaisalmer
Hmm.
around 10 days before.
Yes.
So I came across a species throughout the desert. It was like a weed. It was arc plant. Maybe you know about it.
Yes, yes. Calotropis.
So, yes, sir. So due to curiosity, I asked from the local people that how is there any use of it? They use it for any purpose. So they said, no, we don't use this plant because it is poisonous. Then when I reach in interiors in villages of Jaisalmer, then there the people said that they use this plant for snake bites, spider bites, and in fevers also. So I just prepared a presentation on this. I'll share my screen.
Sure. Go ahead. And very widely studied plant, Calotropis procera and Calotropis gigantea.
Yes,
There
sir.
are several species, yes. Yes.
Yes, sir. So these plants were throughout the desert, and the two species are Calotropis gigantea and procera.
Right.
And during the literature survey, I found that this plant, every part of this plant is poisonous, even when it is incised or it is leaves are torn, then it gives out a milky liquid.
Except
That is
the central part of the flower that you can eat. The flower,
okay,
central
sir.
part of the flower, that chokri, which is called as in the center, that
Yes,
you
sir.
take out, and that is the only edible part. Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, sir. So because it is a poisonous plant, and juice is its white milky juice is very hazardous, and it can be lethal when it is consumed in large quantities. But I found that in Ayurveda there are a lot of uses, and the folk people use this plant for diarrhea, vomiting, vomification, and for snake bites, spider bites. They are just taking the latex juice of that plant and putting it at the bite side, and just press it downward to bleed, and it works as antidote. So surprisingly, this species is used in Ayurveda to treat many diseases. So the treasure is hidden, like due to the lack of information, people cut this plant. They thought that it is very poisonous, but it is actually called arka, and which means sun ray. So it has hot potency. In Ayurveda, it is said that it balances Vat and Kapha dosha. So in general, this plant is used to treat in Ayurveda. This plant is used to treat asthma, colds, coughs, diarrhea, fever, indigestion, leukoderma, and many other. Even in Chinese and homeopathic medicine, it is also found. So it contains a lot of compounds, which I read about these compounds, that what particular compound work, how it work. So these are many anti-carcinogenic, antifungal, antibacterial properties these compounds contain. So these are various diseases like the respiratory disorder. For this is very much used for respiratory disorder and diabetes. I came across like one lady said that the leaves of this plant we put at our sole and just put our shoes, and throughout the day we walk like this, and in at night we remove this leaf, and we could found that good results, lowering in glycemic sugars in our body. So in modern foundation, sir, I found that some of the studies which have studied this for like what is the chemical composition, and some rat studies and like that. And I also found that a formulation by SBL, who make the mother tincture of this. This is a homeopathic medicine which is used for lung and skin ailments, infections in lungs and skin. And it is also used, this medicine is also used for alleviating pain and inflammation. So I found some research paper which have tested the plant efficacy, whether it has anti-inflammatory, antioxidant activities. This is for flowers for diabetic rats. They were the flowers were tested for the diabetes and anti-ulcer effects. So basically I found, but lot of studies are there, but we are not using the actual properties, the potential this plant has, but we have not yet explored that potential fully. So I think that this plant has a lot of potential, and it should be explored much for our health benefits. Thank you, sir.
Very true. Very true. Thank you. And I will show you that what you're saying is very true. And there are studies that have been done by CDRI. Did you look at those studies or no?
Sir, by CBRI?
So
Sir, by CBRI I have not seen. But yes, most of the studies are from Indian origin.
So there is a study by CDRI, Tushar Pandey, and Central Council of Research in Ayurveda. So it's very good that authors from CSIR lab are working with the Ayurvedic experts, and then they are trying to develop some EST, SSR markers, DNA markers, to authenticate the particular species is in which they have found something useful. So this is a study on markers. Like that, there are other studies also which are available. And but what is happening is, and if you remember the story I told you of Professor Yu Tutu, the one who got Nobel Prize, that we, at that time, as I told you, Artemisia was done research on by CDRI also. But
yes, sir.
We moved on. We did not persist with it enough. Imagine 1967, China started work. By 1980s, they developed the artemisinin. By 90s, it came in the market. And in later 90s, I think around that time, she got the Nobel Prize. So what I'm saying is that we have to persist with an idea which is powerful and not give it up. One or two papers would not, or one or two patents will not help us to go very far. Of course, Professor Tu had not filed any patent. She made it open source for the whole
Yes,
world to benefit from artemisinin. So one problem that we have is that even when we find potential very good, as you have rightly mentioned, this plant has, we do not go far enough to both discover the science of it and develop a technology out of it, and then help entrepreneurs take it to the market. We are satisfied when we get a good publication and we think our job is done. But time to come, if you don't become a startup yourself, at least help some startups working in that area to take your lead and run with it. I mean, don't hold on to it. Don't sit over it. Don't kill it by just ignoring it. Having found some good science, join hands, network with somebody who can take your idea forward. So I hope you will do that and not leave it on in
Yes,
the
sir.
way.
Sure, sir.
Right? Ava,
Yes, sir.
you have picked up a very useful plant. A lot of research has been done. You will find scoping studies also done, as some of
Yes,
you
sir. I
mentioned
was
earlier.
surprised because it has a lot of properties for diabetes, ulcer, cancers, and blood sugars, even antidepressant also. So lot
Yes.
of scope is there.
My point is there is a paper in overview. Let me mention this paper to you also because you should read this. It came in 2021 and it will give you an overview. So my suggestion is you should first read this paper
Okay,
and
sir.
then go further because this has reviewed large number of papers. You see that? Overview of characteristics and potential of Calotropis procera from botanical, ecological, and economic perspective.
Yes, sir.
So look at that. First, go through some review papers, then zero in on a particular function of this, which you find most exciting to go forward.
Okay, sir. Thank
All
you.
right, good luck. Very nice.
Thank you,
Very
sir.
clap for you, Abha. Good. Anybody else now? Who will be the next? Navjot, Gayatri, Pinky, आप लोग में से कोई बताएगा कौन? हाँ, बोलो भाई, बोलो. Samsung, Manisha, Lalchand Sahu, Harpreet. Please take lead. Go ahead and share. Please go ahead. You can take up some examples from non-plant bases also. Metals, alloys, physical properties, some chemicals that have been developed. You know, one student, his name was Narayan Lal Gurjar. What did he do? Did I tell you his story? Did I tell him about him? He has made a growth promoter.
No, sir.
Okay. So he was in second year agricultural course in Maharana Pratap Agriculture University in Udaipur. Second year. They give awards, Gandhi and Young Technological Innovation Award. Somehow he applied. And when we were screening, he was not eligible for award because award is for postgraduate and PhDs, but we made an exception. And we took it to the committee, and committee also appreciated the idea, and he was given a consolation award. What had he done? So he was staying in the hostel, and he had no access to the farm. There was some open space between the two dormitories. So he did experiment there. He found from the kitchen a lot of fruit waste and vegetable waste. He collected from the kitchen and extracted a polymer out of them and used it as a growth promoter. He found very good results. He sent us the photograph of a few plants without the polymer and few with the polymer, and we gave him an award. That gave him a lot of encouragement. Then he appeared for a competition where 30 countries people had applied. He got selected in Japan. He went to Japan as a student. He's still not graduate. Went to Japan. They were so impressed with his product. They helped him to incorporate, gave him a lot of grant, a lot of money. And EF Polymer is the name of his company. You will find on the net. Narayan Lal Gurjar and there is another person. Two of them have set up this company. They're doing good business. They got a lot of money. 30 crore rupees investment they got from Japanese fund. 30 crore rupees. As a young student who was just now, he graduated only recently. And this product is going to the farmers. It saves water. It's like a gel, saves water, and also provides growth promoting effect based on waste material or waste biomass. So sometime when you're curious, don't look for ideal conditions for your research to pursue. Wherever you are, whatever conditions there are, just try and something can happen. And there are people in this world who will appreciate your effort sooner or later and give you the right linkage. And if you don't find anybody, write to me. I'll connect you to the people. No scientist says no to me when I write to them. And you will be able to find the way for taking your ideas forward. So who would like to present next? Today we'll not take a break. We'll leave a little early, but let's have a few more presentations. Please go ahead. Elizabeth, रश्मि, नवनीत, कौन? निधि, कौन करेगा प्रेजेंट? जल्दी बताइए. You can even discuss the idea. If you have not formulated your thought completely, pick up something that you documented in the traditional knowledge, and if you tell me whether you are very keen to pursue the validation of your grandmother's or grandfather's knowledge, and then we discuss that. Go ahead.
Okay, sir, I'll do.
Yeah, please, Tushar, go ahead.
Just a moment. I'll just share my screen. I don't know whether it fits this context, but
let's see. When in doubt, share. That's a good principle in learning in life. It won't do any harm. It may do some good.
Are you able to see it?
Yes, नहीं अभी नहीं आया, आ जाएगा लेकिन अभी नहीं आया. Not yet. तुषार नहीं आ रहा है आपका स्क्रीन, दोबारा करो या तो हमें मेल कर दो तो आई विल शेयर.
Okay.
अनिल जी @ज्ञान या नामिका @gyan.org पे भेज दो. We will share.
Okay, I'll share it to you, sir.
Yeah, just send it. But you can start in the meanwhile if you wish to give the context to us.
Okay.
But I have not yet received your file, but I'm waiting for it.
Can I see it now?
Yeah, it's visible now.
Okay, actually, this idea came like 1 year back when I used to stay in hostel, because we used to have this institutional menu cards. Okay, and a lot of the menus that we have didn't have millets in our institutions, or a lot of other institutions also. I collected the menu cards and saw that millets are not used nowadays. So in our institute, what happens is a lot of researchers and PhD scholars go to places like remote places for ecological studies, or to collect data from Trans Himalayas or Himalayas, or maybe Garhwal area. So these three states, Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir. So most of the people go there. So I thought that why not look for millets? And I got this idea after reading one book from Venkatesh. It was on millets of Indian Himalayan region. So we will just start it. So these are just the health benefits of millets, that it is very nutrient rich and with fibers, vitamins and minerals. And it's also gluten-free, easily digestible, and provides versatility in cooking. And it's also improves digestions and enhances immunity. And along with health importance, it also has like festive importance. Like a lot of people use it in during festivals, like we use in Makar Sankranti or Pongal, Baisakhi or Navratri, like during upwas and all this fasting stuff. So we use millets of various kinds for these purposes. So, but what has happened is right from the childhood, we always consider that, yeah, even our mom used to give us the porridge of millets, but over the years it has lost somewhere. So erosion of millets from India's culinary heritage was something that it was very important to understand. Like, why? Because we mostly shifted to rice and wheat after Green Revolution, and it was mainly considered as poor man's food. Okay, and urbanization put an additional impact on it. So, a lot of researchers from our institute went to these agroclimatic zones. So we just asked them whether they could like collect few indigenous species, or the species that are cultivated on these kind of terrains. So, and we used to collect those like 30-40 different varieties of that. So this is by Venkatesh Bhatt. And if you see that Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh are like really major producers of millets in India. But if we see that the production of millets and the area on which the millet used to be produced is quite dwindling along with time. And all these institutes in India that we see here have done like tremendous work on millets, and we have such a good database for millet nutrition as well as its importance, but we still are not using it at the extent that we should use it. So what we did was we collected all the millets from these different areas, like we collected all the varieties, and saw that how the farmers, or how can we collect all the millets, and without putting them in a blockchain, how can we get it for the institutional purposes, like for the institutional canteens or messes. So these are a few of the varieties that we collected from there, and this is the blockchain basically. And from the mandi or wholesaler, we like generated a list of mandi and wholesalers where we can directly get it for like without adulterations, and we can use it for institutional distribution and student consumership. And we finally will try to implement that all these indigenous varieties as well as a lot of varieties from Uttarakhand, Himachal, and Jammu and Kashmir may be used in our institutes as like for mess and canteens. Thank you.
Good, very good, very good. This is a very relevant one. Now, you know that the year of millet has generated a lot of interest around the country, lot of parties, lot of functions. There was, we have a Sattvic traditional food and nutrition festival from 23rd December to 26th December in Bhagavad Vidyapeeth in Ahmedabad, which Honeybee Network organizes both the institutions, Gyan and Sashti together. And if any one of you has some food-related innovation which you want to showcase, we can give you space. You can come and present your result. There will be around 40,000-50,000 people coming in 4 days from 23rd to 26th December. And it will give you an opportunity to get feedback. Also, there will be farmers from whom you can generate some behavioral data. The consumers will be there from whom you generate consumer preference data, taste data, or anything else that you want to survey. Or if you want to, if you have some products, not necessarily food, but any other product which is community knowledge based or which is applicable at community level, and you want to do a market research on that, we will help you to do that also. Anything which is bio related in some sense, because most of the focus is on biological materials. But even if you have a machine, last before year, we had a solar cooker which can be fitted in the windows, and that was very, they wanted to have feedback. So it was linked to sustainability. So we included that. So if you have some solution which are sustainability linked, even if from completely other domain, we can consider that. So if you do anything further, Tushar, where you want to do, you want to generate feedback, you want to know which millets are preferred, because we have in every stall at Sattvic, we'll have at least 2 or 3 millet dishes. And Anamika will tell you that they have got millets from Northeast and Jammu Kashmir, which are also being presented. Anamika, you want to share the story of the Rajma before we go further? You have that slide with you?
Yes, sir, I have. I can just show them the results.
Yeah, that will be wonderful. That will be wonderful if you can do that.
Yes. So we, as a part of the Himalayan Bioresource Project, the project under the Himalayan Bioresource Mission of DBT, we were surveying for different land races, weeds, and things that people eat or use in their day-to-day lives, and things which are abundant or abandoned. And we wanted to see the kind of diversity that is present in these places. And I will show. So we have collected 30 varieties of Rajma, kidney beans, from a single district of Nagaland, which is Kifri, the last district before Myanmar. So I will show you the results. And these were screened for iron and zinc. Now, why iron and zinc? Because they had a project, the
Incidentally,
Tata Institute,
yeah, Tata Institute
Tata
Genetics Society, yeah.
for Genetics and Society had a project where they are screening biomaterials for iron and zinc. And so they had taken 3 other varieties as control, three varieties which are found in the market generally. And these were the results. So in zinc, they found that they are more or less, comparable to the controls. But in iron, they found, you can see these star marked ones, and these are the kolar means rajma in Nagamese. So these they found to be significantly higher than, see, if you see the difference, then they are nearly sometimes twice that is there in the control, or at least if not twice, then 30% in the control. And now the next this year when we get these varieties, they say that we'll have to rule out any agricultural practices or iron if the soil is rich in iron. So those factors, if they are ruled out, then we can get genetic lines, pure lines, which are very good in their iron content, and maybe we can then think of scaling them up into some like midday meals or anything like that. You know, at least in
India has
Gujarat, there are
60% women suffering from anemia. So this could
in
be a
Gujarat
good
it is,
Mineral iron causes constipation. So when iron tablets are taken, that's not a good solution for anemia. We need to find something biological, bioavailable form. So this could be a good solution actually.
So and the thing is, see, there are resources which might be good in some other micronutrients, but we don't have resources to
Do we
screen
have
them.
students from CFTRI here? We could send more food samples to some of you who are interested in finding their mineral properties, vitamin properties, and then maybe do a study or paper on jointly with our team and committees on diversity, nutritional diversity of Northeast or nutritional diversity of Jammu Kashmir. You can publish a paper on that, and we can
And the
provide you.
idea is to group them as functional foods. So
Exactly.
if you have some deficiency, you can get it from the food that you eat, and that may not that may not have side effects as the other medicines that you have. Or sometimes people are reluctant to have medicines. It's just अगर आप अपने दादी दादा को बोलोगे तो उनको एक दवाई खाने में ऐसा लगता है कि बहुत जोर पड़ रहा है. Not that they don't want to get well. It is just a mindset. But if you give them a bowl of rajma, they will eat. If their digestion
will
system
anybody
helps.
like to take up something of analytical nature where you have facilities of, in very little time you can do maybe 30 minerals or vitamins, amino acid analyzer, and then find out, and we can get you the samples from all the places, Sikkim, Nagaland, Jammu Kashmir, Baramulla, and other regions.
The one in millet, I just wanted to tell you that in Sikkim, we have 2 kinds of buckwheat. वो लोग तीता पापड़ बोलते हैं, मीठो पापड़ बोलते हैं. मतलब एक मीठा और एक तीता, मतलब थोड़ा कड़वा लगता है. I don't know if you have differentiated the millets. Sir, you are saying something?
No, I'm telling Shakti that I can't talk to him now. Carry on.
Okay. So
Carry on.
if you want even millets, such millets that we have collected from the community, we can send you samples where there is a differentiation within the millet group as well. Like buckwheat is buckwheat, and they say that if somebody falls sick, then they are made to eat the tita papad. There might be something that we don't know, we are not aware of. But in case you would like to analyze it, we can send you samples. Professor, you can continue.
Yeah.
Do we have another presentation now?
Yeah, we have anybody else wanting to share? by now you would have formed your opinion, gathered the courage to share. There's no courage required, actually. It's just a thought. Otherwise, I'll share your spreadsheet again, and then you can pick up from there. I have got many of you have shared something from your knowledge, from your community knowledge, from your parents, from grandparents. But the challenge is that why are you not feeling inspired to take it up further, to find the science underlying it? Some of you have written about Tridex, which is a very popular weed, yellow colored flower, and used in large number of applications. So I did some research on that. There are many other plants that you have taken up. So Monica, would you like to share something, or Saloni, or Mohit? Please just come forward. Pinky, Harpreet Kaur, Basuraj, Pankaj, people. You can take non-herbal example as well. Why not? Some alloys, some mineral properties. Namika, can you show them the clay? Did we share them the clay pots by the tribal of Chotadepur?
No, sir. And I also wanted to maybe somebody in pigments, if people are interested in pigments, they can see. So we have 5 different colored soils from Kashmir, Baramulla.
Yeah, that will be very nice if you can show them. And in
I
Malaysia,
will
I
have
had
to
seen, in
but if
Philippines, I
they
had
are
seen
interested,
artists who make colors, who make paintings from soil colors. So it is a very important field, natural dyes from soil. So it will be very low cost also, and mineral based, basically. In the meanwhile, who's getting the slide, anybody else would like to share? Nancy, Vinay, Jyoti, Imani Bhatia, Preeti.
it can be common contemporary knowledge also. It doesn't have to be.
Yes, of course. You know, we had some walnut skin which we gave to IIP. Anybody from IIP, Indian Petroleum?
I was getting that in my mind too. The
Yeah.
sulfur content was very high.
So they
The
wanted,
extraction sulfur.
yeah, which is some used in some refining processes or some industrial processes, and they thought that they had to combine sulfur. Here it was naturally available with carbon. So that was the advantage of this walnut skin. And Professor, I'm forgetting his name, Subramaniam, or what his name was, who did a very interesting study
Bhaskar.
in Bhaskar. Anybody from IIP? You should talk to him and maybe take that idea forward. So there are sometimes naturally blended minerals, blended minerals or chemicals available in the bioresources, which artificially are very difficult to combine in a right manner and right proportion. Chemistry is very costly, synthetic chemistry, whereas natural chemistry is much more affordable. Anybody? Ravi, Prashita, Shekhar, Vishali, जयदेव, सब लोग अपना वीडियो ऑन करो. आप लोग लगता है थोड़ा सुस्त हो गए. Please switch on your video. Switch on your video, Sandhya, विशाल, मयंक, हाँ, मेघना. स्विच ऑन करो. जिन जिन के वीडियोस कैमरा काम कर रहे हैं, प्लीज स्विच ऑन. जिसका नहीं कर रहा, कोई बात नहीं. प्लीज स्विच ऑन. यस, राहुल, बताइए तो सही, क्या चैलेंज है? व्हाट इज द प्रॉब्लम दैट यू आर नॉट एबल टू? I mean, you have shared. I will share your spreadsheet. So if you want to, let me share your spreadsheet. Wait a minute. Then we can go through that, and some of you who are there should be able to pick up those. And so I'm sharing your spreadsheet, and I'll go to the bottom of the sheet so that those who submitted last can pick up. I had seen some of you have submitted general point, but some of you are very specific. For example, this one, Shivani from Empri. Shivani, would you like to talk about Kukuranda, which is used in bathing, I think you mentioned? Or are you there, Shivani? There are many saliva used for numbness. I couldn't find any paper on that, but that's a very interesting point. And if it is true, then we should do some research on that. Which compounds in saliva help in activating the nerve, blood flow to the nerves, overcome numbness. Marigold leaf, I mentioned to you, there are some very good papers. And this is by Divankar Paul. I showed you some example today. Divankar, are you there? For headache? Divankar? Are you there? Namika, are you ready? Then I can stop sharing. You are muted. You are muted. You are muted.
I am not getting it, but I can send them later.
All right. All right. Okay. No problem. So, friends, who would like to share? You can take anything from here in the list that is there in front of you. Any one of you who is here can pick up what you have shared, and then we can go forward. Somebody has done on Kapoor. Some are of course general, but some are very specific. Onion paste for headache was very interesting. And I did some studies on that. I'll show you that. So first of all, it is mentioned in folklore very many times, and a lot of people have written about it. So it is not just a, and it's also useful for hairs. So there are people who have put you look at that. There are a lot of people who have mentioned use of, at least 10 years ago, people have put down on for onion, for crushed onion based on forehead. This will make your eyes overflow, but it is sure to make the headache vanish in few minutes. Now, shouldn't we do some research and find out maybe a roll-on or something from onion? What do you think? Who had sent it? Jay Lakshmi, are you there? Jay Lakshmi?
Yes,
Yeah, so it is very effective. What you've given, you mentioned is very interesting and effective. If you do literature survey, which I did today in the morning, and I found that there were many papers, but nobody has been able to develop a extract, because I can't find onion when I'm having a headache all the time. I may be traveling, I may be in my office, I may be in class. But if somebody has a problem of headaches and needs a roll-on with mixed with either spirit or whatever, or just wax and like a balm, and I apply it on my forehead and I get relief, that to be very effective. Who in your family has used it?
Yes, sir. From childhood, I have seen my parents and grandparents also suggest me to use it when I have headache or if they are having headache. I've
And
seen
you have
them
had
use.
good effect of it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So now we will need to do research whether the white onion or pink onion or the red onion, is there a difference of its effectiveness in different varieties? We'll also have to see whether the young onion and the little older one will have, whether the sprouted onion and the non-sprouted one, do they have difference in the effect? So there are many variables that we can consider to design and experiment in the lab. And though you are in NPL, but you can find somebody, will somebody like to work with Jayalakshmi to find out what form can we make his extract be available to users? Anybody else suffers from headache in our group? Anybody has had the problem of headache? Raise hands. Here is a very low cost remedy. And if you have been suffering and taking medicines, stop it and try this. Anybody? Chat, let me see if somebody has put the name. raise hand, or put down, open your mouth. I mean, switch on your mic. I'm not able to see that. Anamika, can you see on the chat if anybody's volunteering who has headache?
Yes, sir. Is there in the chat?
So my
Shilpi,
suggestion.
Maitri, Urvashi, Ankita, Monica.
So can you all do an experiment, please? Take 3 different kinds of onion, or 3 different shapes of onion, 3 different sizes of onion. Make a paste and apply on your forehead. Jayalakshmi, can you get from your parent little more detail as to which onion is better? Is there any particular onion, or any onion will do?
As far as I know, any onion can be used for the purpose. I don't know much about it, but as far as I know, they use any type of
So
onion
what
that
you can do is you can find out more and put down the names of your parents also. And Mukesh, the idea is to try it out. If you have a problem, we have something else also for migraine, Anamika, we found in our literature, if you remember, in Sikkim. And but we can try onion paste. No harm in
The
trying.
clematis bukiana.
Yeah,
Bukianana.
it will not do
Pina
any
salora
harm.
bolte hain.
Mukesh, it will not do any harm. There is for migraine, there is one in plant in Sikkim. The naam dobara bata do. But we want some of you to work with us to develop a paste.
Let me tell you the problem. When we do it there, we take it out freshly and inhale, then migraine, sinus, all are relieved. But the moment we have to bring it here and extract, like do the extraction and all, it loses its character.
There must be some volatile. There is some volatile in it. And how do you capture that volatile in situ? That is a research question that you have to find out.
Yes.
So how
Because it works wonderfully well when we take out freshly.
Yeah, she had there was a meeting, and Anamika was suffering from this. And Sanjay, who was a driver at that time, now he's a part of our team, rushed and brought that shrub, small herb, not a shrub, herb, from between the rocks growing on the side of his house. And it immediately gave relief. Then we also gave it to one of my students who was deputy collector there, Rohan Akwane, and he also found it very effective. So we are very keen that a product is developed out of it. But we should also try onion paste, Anamika.
And sir, this plant is reported to be neuroprotective, and also they have effective on diabetic induced neuropathy. But the problem is again getting it here and making something out of it.
No, but then this is a research question. If some of you are interested, we can help you to travel to Sikkim if you really take the sample in situ in some alcohol or some such material, so that the volatiles are not released immediately in a tight container, and then do either gas chromatography or something else to see which compounds in it are captured, which are not reported in literature. And then probably we'll go closer to find the solution of stability. This must be very unstable compound. That's why we are not able to find it off the site. It is only available on the site. And this is true for many other kinds of compounds. So we need to find a way of capturing it. But it's very nice, Jayalakshmi, what you mentioned. And I would wish that some of you who have suffered from headache will at least do a small experiment of onion paste on your forehead and send us a feedback to tell Jayalakshmi also. Her parents will be very happy to hear your feedback. Their blessings will come your way. And we'll all be happy that we found a very low-cost method, thanks to Jayalakshmi, which was known in the literature, but we had never heard of it in our daily life, now that we know it. So, friends, before we wind up today, I would suggest that let's take a little more active interest. There are 3 things to be done in this course before we move further. You know that we have put 3 days, 20th, 21st, 22nd, when each one of you in a group or as you wish has to present synopsis of a project on which you will work. And these projects must have direct social application, must solve problem of some social segment. My request to you is if you're doing your PhD on something, don't bring that project into this discussion, because that you will do anyway. So if you take a little extra effort, if some of you need leads from us, Anamika can send you leads on whichever topic you want, because we have such a huge database of herbal leads or botanical or soil, for that matter, as she mentioned, for pigments. So if some of you want to do extraction from the clay materials, or some of you want to find out, there is a lac which is used for coating the clay, and NML had done some work. Of course, they could go only up to graphene oxide, but there's a hypothesis that when you have a transparent coating of a lac, it could be graphene. And if it is graphene, then this material will provide you, natural material will provide you the least cost method of making graphene. As you know, some people use sugar and other materials for graphene, but this will be one of the cheapest way of making graphene. And if physics people would like to do some research, NPL people or others, or metallic minerals, CGCRI or somebody else wants to do work on that, please let us know. We'll be very happy to send you the material. And you can then take up some of those pots and scrape it and then analyze. You can also do conductivity test and see whether it meets the conditions of graphene or not. Graphene oxide, it does, to get the graphene. Then we can arrange you to meet the committees how they could do it, because they take high temperature, 350 degrees, and then twice they do that, 600 degrees or 350 degrees, and they move it on the raw hot clay plate or hot clay vessel. And it's a natural lac that they use, but not the one that is used for bangles and others, a different variety of the lac. So think of it. We have a lot of leads coming from people's knowledge, which can easily be transformed into some very interesting solutions for your deep science, not just for anecdotal purpose, but for deep science. So will some of you like to pursue that idea? Will some of you like to know more? So Wildlife Institute, you know, we did a study of scat of sloth bear. I'm giving you example how people's knowledge and scientific knowledge can be complemented. That was 95. And we found that when we did the scat analysis, there were only about 20, 22 species which we could find traces of in the scat. But when we asked people as to what have they seen sloth bear consuming, there were more than 35 or 38 different plant materials that sloth bear consumed. So if we had restricted ourselves only, who is the graphene person? Devranjan? No, this is the name. Graphene में कौन है?
Himani, sir.
Himani. कहाँ पर NPL में हो?
Hello, sir.
Where are you based?
Himani this side. So yes, sir. I'm working in NPL. I'm doing PhD in NPL.
So we just send you as Himani. What is your full name, Himani?
Himani Bhatia, sir.
Bhatia. So if we send a
Yes,
packet in your name, you will get it?
Yes, sir.
एक पैकेट आपके नाम से भेज दें तो आपको मिल जाएगा ना?
हाँ sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So Namika, let us send some pots to her, but please make sure that the ones which have transparent coating, that means very thin coating, those are the ones we will send to you. So chances of finding graphene are higher there. One which are blackish, we can send one blackish also, because that blackish one.
So will she need the exudate, like the small goti that they make?
Then she will have to heat and coat herself. That is also possible. That also is possible.
Because she might be able to get the thinnest coating, which our people are not able to be able to.
That's a good thought. That's a good thought. To send both, she can do the coating on some clay surface, very thin layer, and we will also send her the one which we have, the vessels which they have made, and
if she said, and if she gets what she needs for a research, then she will make something, an arrangement or some equipment or whatever, so that these tribals can do it more uniformly on their.
And you can and you can get it from them. They can also do graphene coating on the clay pots.
Yes, she
This
should.
is
She needs to find a way where they can apply it more uniformly and
yes,
properly.
some coating brush, or maybe this
Okay.
lac can be dissolved in some syrup that you can find out and then apply it. At the moment, they do it at around 300 to 350 degrees centigrade. They bake the pot when there's a that temperature is very high. And we can arrange your visit to the community. Once you find something interesting, then we can arrange you to visit the community in Chota Udeipur and learn from them the whole process. Observe yourself how they do it, and then see which is the critical process which makes graphene or graphene into graphene oxide. Both can be checked up, and it will be very nice thing to do. So good.
Okay, sir.
We have made some progress. Any one of you else who wants to take up some materials which are of interest to you, where you want to know more about science underlying them, write to Anamika or me, and we will be very happy to respond to your queries, send you the materials.
Sir, I have you can say problem or whatever, a case for WII people. So if you remember, sir, in Nagaland, हर वो बोलते ना जानवर कहाँ गया बोलते सब कुछ खा गया नहीं बोलते थे. But there was one village where if you kill a bird, then you are heavily fined.
Correct.
So can they make a database of such community institutions where the community has taken initiatives to protect the wildlife around? This
Very
case
good.
we can give them access to the database that we have, but
Correct.
they have to find more contemporary and like institutions, people's institutions, community institutions, rules, laws, whatever. That people have themselves enforced to protect the wildlife of the region.
So I'll give two examples. One from Karnataka. When you grow areca nut on the forest fringe lands and other crops, the wild fox and
Sir,
wild boar.
Devranjan, this is not taboo. That's an institution that they have created. Even the IFS officers, and there was some army officer who had to pay 1,25,000 because though there was one bird killed, there were 5 people with with the commander, 1+4. So 25,000 each, so 1,25,000, and that is recorded. So that's not a taboo. That's an institution, a law, a local, because many of the communities, if you know, are self-governing. They govern themselves. They make laws themselves, and that is
So
what this
it's a
village
good
has
idea.
done.
A good idea to document local institutions, local rules, local norms, which help conserve the wildlife. And this is so in Karnataka. What they do is, because the wild boar and other animals come and disturb the agriculture field, and sometimes there's a conflict and they attack. So there is a custom there in many parts of the villages that they grow. Those of you who are from that region, Shimoga, and that part of the Karnataka, you will know that they grow some crops which wildlife needs, loves in some fields. These fields are meant only for wildlife. They will come and eat it. They will not come and disturb your village fields. So feeding the wildlife so that they don't disturb your field. There are many other examples of this kind, where in sloth bear sanctuary in Jessore and Balaram in North Gujarat, many times they used to come for drinking water in the summer. So sanctuaries on the high altitude, slightly higher altitude, villages are at the lower level. So then they provided water points in the field, in the jungle itself, for them to not come outside. And then, so there are many examples where people have developed their own local wildlife need-based solutions, conserve them, and to collect them. It will be very useful if you can document them from Arunachal Pradesh and from other places. We need to develop, when it comes to institution building, there's very little modern science which can compete with what traditional institutions have done. Otherwise, we would have lost all wildlife right now. Hardly 4% area is under the sanctuaries. That's all in our country, and even that under the new environmental policy is being realized, unfortunately. But let us hope that by strengthening the institutions, in Assam, there is a wildlife sanctuary which people built. Now the government has sort of recognized it as a valid sanctuary. but it was people driven. Forest department didn't do that. People did that. So there are many examples of this kind, which will be useful to document and make a small database. There is a database of common property resource institutions, srsti.org, sristi.org/CPRI, common property resource institutions, CPRI, which is about different kinds of resources: water, irrigation, forest and wildlife. So you can find that on the net, study that, and if you find that format also is given there, how to document, you can find that. If you have questions, write to me, and all of you who are interested in that study of institutions, we can have a separate session with you to explain how to document. All right. So we'll be very happy if you did that work further, because we need to do more and more effort to conserve what little is left, so that our children and grandchildren don't have to see wildlife only in the zoo. They can do that in everyday life. So thank you so much, friends. So I was just telling you that we have to get ready for 20th, 21st, 22nd, when we will have presentations by all of you. My request is all of you should listen to everybody. Don't disappear after making your own presentation, because we should have horizontal feedback. We should give comments to each other so that people can benefit from your comment. Don't think that comment should be only what from us to you, but you can give suggestions to each other. That is where the true learning will take place. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow. Tomorrow we are going to talk about policy issues. Is that right? Policy and institutional issues. How can we extract policy which influences the interactions that we are studying? How to make policy in favor of the meeting the need of unmet need of the people. Or when you develop solutions, how to modulate the policy to support diffusion of its solution. That's a challenge, because many times solutions are developed in CSIR labs, but they don't go far because we don't work on policy changes. We must simultaneously work on policy changes. So see you tomorrow, 5:30. And do bring some paradoxes or some challenges that you're facing, where you have a solution, but you don't know which policy lever to be manipulated to go further. Thank you. Goodbye. Good night. See you tomorrow.
Good night, sir.
Good night, sir.
Good night.
Good night, sir.
Good night.
sir.
And you can see my
Night,
Shakti
sir.
now.
Good night, sir.
You can see my Shakti at this moment. This
Good
fellow
night,
has
sir.
liberty. I
Yes,
will
sir.
not accept any
Thank you,
restriction
sir.
now, and I will not restrict him
Thank you,
also.
sir.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Look, they're all watching you. What are you doing? Now it's your time. Yeah.
Good night, sir.
Good night. Okay.
Good night, sir.
All right. Good night. All
Good
right,
night, sir.
Shakti. All right. Okay. Fine. Just,
Good night, sir. Good night.
Good night. Oh my goodness.